Hold on a second. Full screen. Here we go. Alrighty, my wonderful friend. Um, Welcome back. My name is Carolina Jimenez, and I have my co-pilot with me, Seamus Hart. Um, and today for Brainstorm, we are going to do a little bit of a further dive into um, ethics. So last session we were talking about the difference between moral and ethical. Um,
Mhm.
and so essentially this week we're going to jump straight in. We could talk endlessly about content and algorithms and visibility, but today we really want to talk about foundational, which is the fuel that powers the real business economy today. So that is trust and what it is, why it's broken, and how you can quantify it. So really, it's looking at ethical brands um, who have done it right, what it is, what it's not. Um, so uh, the presentation is called the Trust Dividend and why trust has become the world's most valuable asset. So
Mm.
So if we look at this, essentially we've got two bottles that they are chemically identical. They solve the exact same problem. They might even cost the exact same to manufacture. The market average might pay, say, $10 for bottle A, and for bottle B, um, customers might be happy to pay, say, $30 or even $50. They're selling certainty, but bottle A wins attention while bottle B wins trust. But only one of them can win the market. And today we're going to learn about how to quantify the certainty and secure the trust dividend.
Mhm. Oh, sorry, your camera's flipped around.
Is it not showing the?
Oh yeah, I can see the slides. It's just on your thing. I'm seeing a stand.
Oh, is that better?
No, it's like it's I can see car keys. Car keys and a blue thing.
Oh, that's weird. Why is it looking? Hold on. Hold on. It's using my iPhone camera. That is so random. Hold on. Ah, technology. Has it stopped showing my iPhone camera now?
Yeah, it's all blurred now.
Oh my god, this is so weird.
Yeah. So sorry.
No, that's okay. Let's see. All right, can you still hear me?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, super weird. Okay, how's that?
Yeah,
Can
that's
you?
better. I can see you now. That's weird. It's just like it was flipping it.
Yeah, it automatically, for some reason, decided to look at use my iPhone camera instead of the computer camera. God bless technology. Yay. Okay, so we were talking about the two different bottles, essentially the same thing to manufacture. One can charge $30, the other one um, essentially charges $10. And the certainty is essentially what is the differentiator in the price that people have to pay. So with so essentially what we're asking is, well, why now? Because the classic definition of advantage have just vanished. The strategy used to be expensive, creativity was rare, and copywriting was specialized. But today, all of these functions, content generation, brand strategy, are all accessible nearly instantly To anyone and
Mm.
everyone in this room, thanks to the tools that have only arrived in our toolkits, predominantly, I say 12 months to 18 months ago, when everybody really just AI took over everything, everywhere, on your phone, on your computer, in every program that you use, it's all AI. So, um, artificial intelligence has flattened the strategic playing field, but it has made every creative execution cheaper, faster, and a lot more temporary. So when the execution is optimized to the absolute peak by machines, what is left for us as human brand managers that cannot be copied.
Mm.
In an era where everything can be optimized and every strategy cloned, the final irreducible advantage is trust. That's that's what we have. And this isn't theory, it isn't chemistry. Consumers operate on a primitive safety heuristic. And when the choice is hard, they'll ask, will I get hurt? What's easier? Who can I trust? Do I know this one? Do I feel safe? Trust is the dividend paid to brands that prove they will never allow their customers to be.
And it's so funny that they can break it so incredibly quickly. Like
Very,
on the dumbest things. Like it's so funny. It's like the cafe I did a bit of service design work for, and the way that they broke trust was starting to charge for tomato sauce.
yeah, I remember
So
you.
they prioritized a $20 bottle of Costco like tomato sauce over actually returned customers, which is the most insane thing I think I've heard.
Yeah, I feel like we could all really think of at least three or four examples of regular business brands that we engage with regularly, where they've broken our trust with something that is so minimal, like
Mm.
Woolies direct to boot, right? During
Yeah.
COVID, most of us just wanted to get in and out of the shop, um,
Yeah.
and getting order online and direct to boot. But how many people lost trust in Woolies because the stuff that you ordered didn't arrive in your box, that when
Mm.
you picked it up, or perhaps you paid for all this stuff and you were supposed to get X lettuce and they ran out of that, so they gave you three other products that you didn't even ask for instead.
Oh, yeah, I hate and you know what the other thing is as well, and this is a huge, you've actually just hit on a huge problem. So a lot of people don't want that substitution when they're buying it for a reason. And one of the biggest behavioral drivers for buying that online is effectively you know what you're getting.
Yeah,
And there's three things about it. There's people who buy a certain brand and a certain type because of allergens. Now,
yeah,
I've had a friend who's severely like anaphylactic. So there's certain things cannot eat. So he has to eat certain brands. And he said most of the time he stops using the shopping because they keep like they either leave out on it or they substitute it for something that's been cross-contaminated with something that's either got gluten or a certain chemical in it that he cannot eat. Um, and then there's other ones with food preferences as well. So if you've got someone with ARFID who has a very precise eating habit, if you substitute it, they're not going to eat it.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
if you've got picker or something like that, where it's and especially with autistic people. And the common one I've heard is that, and this is from autistic parents, is that they're the first households to know when a brand has changed the ingredient.
yeah, absolutely.
And I've got a couple of good anecdotal ones, like Smarties
Oh
are
yeah.
technically not chocolate anymore. They've
Oh,
changed the ingredient, now they're confectionery.
oh, okay.
The way that we found out is because I know someone who, what they do, they used to put the Smarties in the microwave for 30 seconds.
So that they would melt. Yep.
So they melt inside, and then you put them on ice cream, or you just eat them. They're awesome. It's like best hack ever. You can't do that now because they've changed the ingredients and it doesn't melt.
Oh, okay. So they don't have the oil and the
Yeah, exactly.
butter and cream in it anymore. It's now just this
Yeah,
basic.
they don't have they don't have the cocoa in it, so it's basically sugar, so they don't melt. And yeah, that's how we found out very quickly it's that they changed the ingredients. And it's like this person's just like that is dead to me now. I'm never going near Smarties ever again.
Yeah. But you can see how that comes back to the ethics um,
Mm,
of that business. Like so, I don't think that Woolies at any point went, well, is this ethical? Like we're just
mm.
giving someone
They
something
don't ask.
instantly, and you can see how much trouble Woolies, Coles are getting into because of their lack of ethics, because they've broken trust so many times in so many different ways based on the
Mm.
fact that they just literally don't even care about the ethics of the way they operate as a business. So, customers do not buy products, they buy the certainty. They are asking themselves three primitive questions. Will this actually solve my problem? Will they deliver what they promised? If it breaks, can I rely on them to fix it? So if I don't get the order that I have paid for online, are they going to fix it for me? I can't even count the number of times where I ordered, salad things or fruit like a watermelon or spinach leaves, and they were like
Mm.
pretty much on the edge of rotting, past their use by date, went off in a couple of days. And again, coming back to their ethics, it was not in their, it was not in anywhere of their management and their operations and their execution to consider the ethics of people who are paying for this product. They are expecting
Mm.
it for a particular reason. It's going to solve a problem. My kids like watermelon. It's one of the few fruits that
Mm.
they eat, and also it tends to be quality for money. Like you get quantity and quality for money. But
Yeah.
if you send me a watermelon that is already rotten, that you're not just have not solved my problem, you have not delivered what you promised me, and I
Mm.
don't believe that I can rely on you to fix it, because then I have to take a photo and I have to upload it to the Woolies bot for them to look at it and then offer me a credit for the next time that I go shopping.
Oh God, I've done the same thing. I did a $300 shop on Coles 2 weeks ago, and for the record, I'm never going to use Coles online ever again. I deleted my account. So, out of a $300 shop, how much do you think actually arrived?
About 150 to 200 if that, luckily. Hopefully,
No, $40 worth of goods
my,
in 2 bags.
oh Jesus.
And I was stocking up. So what I do is if I get paid, I tend to like stock up.
Yeah.
And then I buy a lot of the savings.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And so like it's like the 2 for 1.
Yeah.
Every single item that was discounted was not in the bag.
Mm.
And I
Okay.
look at it like this, like you're better off not sending it at all than sending something that is so half-assed.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, it just meant that it then meant that I missed out on half the stuff. And there were some things that I was buying that are expensive items that like I was stocking up on because it was a great price and they did not include it. And the worst thing is that you can buy it all in store. So it's
Mm.
like, really? Um, I've actually got a behavioral theory of why they deliberately leave things out of the shop.
Mm. Yeah.
I think it's time pressure on the employees. And I think the other thing is that they deliberately leave things out. So you have to go into the shop and buy it, and you're not going to just buy that one thing. So it's
Yeah.
an upsell mechanism. So they're deliberately screwing you to get you into the shop. That's
Yeah.
why I think the buying, like I think buying like through Coles and Woolies is probably the worst thing ever, and it needs to be burnt with fire.
Oh, Seamus, you're never lacking in passion.
Mm.
And
No, no, that's just I hate it. Like clothes and all that. Okay, fine. Like um bought a couple of hoodies.
yeah.
Amazing experience. I can't put it up, but it's the one that's considerably disappointing. It's like a deadbeat dad. So I'm sorry, the grocery online is the deadbeat dad of the online shopping world. It occasionally turns up, and when it does turn up, you're so disappointed with what you got. You just think I would have been better just doing it myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm right. You know I'm right.
Okay, moving right along. So, in
Mm,
summary, every dollar that trust helps you bypass in uncertainty is a dollar that you keep in acquisition cost.
mm.
Ooh. So, there was a golden age for brand marketing where reputation was something that we manufactured and we made a beautiful commercial. We controlled the narrative and we were authoritative. And ladies and gentlemen, that era is over. The narrative is now distributed and permanently decentralized. Every customer feedback loop is documented, it's instantly shared, and forever remembered, and crucially, fully searchable by your next potential customer. Cannot manage your reputation. You can only manage your character, and it will define your reputation.
Hmm.
Oops, I think that's the slide that I was supposed to.
Oh, okay.
A little bit lagging in slides there, but further like further discussion on this particular part of the conversation about the reputation. Like we're living in such a consumer-driven um, era that you could literally do the best job and the worst job, and either you pay a ton for fake reviews and then eventually get caught out, or
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, and or you could essentially do some of your worst work, um, and or some of your best work, but have that one customer that just goes, what the actual fuck have you given me? And I will give you an example of a particular photographer that I thought, you know what, it would be so nice. I've been a solo parent for, mostly 7 years now, and we've never had a full family photo. And when I say
Mm.
full family photo, I'm talking me, the two huskies, the child, and
Yeah, 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 of course. The
so anyway, and I had this vibe when I met this person, and she came to this event and she took some photos, and then she's like, oh yeah, I've got some photos I can share with you, and she gave me the card, and then I rang her about it, and she's like, oh, let me check. No, it's like you clearly didn't even check. But she wasn't going to give me any of the photos. And then later on down the track, she was really trying to sell me on getting these family photos. So I was like, yeah, okay. Now she was so hell bent on just getting me to pay my money. Didn't even explain, I don't let people just buy the digital file. I don't do just one or two digital prints. Like you can only buy a package where I print it and frame it for you with like a minimum starting price of like 3.5 grand.
Mm.
So what
Holy crap.
I know, right? But the quality of the actual photos wasn't even like we're not talking a Vogue photo shoot. It was just like a photo in her backyard with the dogs. She didn't do makeup. There weren't any like
Oh
props.
my
There weren't any
God. That's
like
that's
and,
that's ridiculously expensive.
but here's the real kicker. So I was like, look, I only want to get like one or two of these, like digital files. Nowhere on her website or nowhere inside anything does it say, no, I don't, can't just buy the digital print. And I would have been happy to pay a couple of $100 for digital print. She didn't need to edit it or anything like that, or even just for the digital file. And her reasoning that was, no, I don't do that because one, the frames that you've already sourced, they're not very good, and you're essentially paying for the art. And I wouldn't be happy with the final product and the final quality of what it would look like on the wall in your house. I was just
Oh my God, that's actually really crazy. It's like unless she's doing what they call the tradesman quote. So a lot of tradesmen they'll quote extremely high if they don't want to do the job.
yeah,
Like, oh, and it's like, yeah, unless you've got like a family member who's like in there and they can look at it, the quote and go, yeah, that's complete bullshit. A lot of people will either pay the exorbitant price or tell them they're dreaming.
yeah, yeah. But this lady, you know, has all these fake reviews like about how wonderful her work is and everything like that. But she's not she won't be getting anywhere. Like the fact that she conducts herself in that way, um, it's like that trust is burnt, and you know that's one example of many. I think my our out of school care, same thing. $25 if you're late, and an extra $20 per minute after the time that they close that you're late,
Mm.
get charged if you're late. Like it wouldn't matter if it was a family emergency or there was fire or something like that. That's what their rules are. So again, reputation gone, trust gone. Like they will forever now be known as basically like robbery, price gouging, like just so many terrible things. Um, and they're not going to live down that reputation, which is very unfortunate for them. But
Yeah. It's funny because it's like I've got two very, very short examples. Actually, and it lines up to it perfectly to this thing. So I worked on a product years ago where some bright project manager decided the best way to advertise this app that was going out was to buy a stack of five-star reviews on the Apple Store. And it ended up that the app was pulled by Apple. They removed it off the store.
oh no, so if you had already paid that for the
No, no, it was like the CX and UX team that I was working in were like going, no, that's a really terrible idea. Don't do that. Really, really bad. But this person from a marketing background thought, no, that's great. We'll buy 500 five-star reviews. And we'll pop it on there. We'll get that to litter it over. But the idiot set it up wrong, so it dumped 500 five-star reviews within a day, which is really unrealistic.
yeah, but then Google would have shut that down, like they would have
Oh, Apple shut it down like within the week. And
yeah.
they also basically shut down the app because they're like, you cannot do that. It caused it, huge, huge problems. But it was like one of those things where we're all saying, no, it's a really bad idea. Don't do that. And he goes, no, no, it's like social marketing. People will go on and go, wow, that's a great app. And then they'll add their own ones and we'll get all these really good reviews. And it also like buffers from like bad reviews because they worked out the number, like the magic number of like, so the one-star review wouldn't up. The other one as well with those reviews is that with a property group, a spruiking group where they were giving people $1,000 Visa prepaid credit cards as a payment for giving them a very good five-star review. The company ended up getting basically into a lot of trouble from government bodies because you cannot legally pay for reviews.
Yeah.
It's you're not allowed to do that. It's highly illegal, and the ACCC effectively gave them a please explain. And they ended up getting all of it hurt their business massively because they had all these five glowing reviews, and it's like, yeah, because you've paid all this money for it, and it was like, why do that? And then there's the flip side, where there's the some of the Chinese restaurants. People write, there's a joke going around online, and if you get it, and this is the trust and relationship thing
Mm.
and reputation. So there's a couple of Chinese restaurants where they got terrible reviews. People put reviews up, but for a reason, if you get the joke. Now, the joke is that the reviewer, so the owners of the business, give an even worse review or an even worse reply. And they are hilarious.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it
yeah.
for attention?
No, it just started off as a bit of a, I don't know, they got one bad review and they're angry and they just reply to it. But it's become an actual thing. So you'll see these restaurants come up and people giving them reviews. One of them was, I saw a rat in the restaurant, and the reply for it was, you were sitting next to a mirror.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, that is hilarious. I love
They,
that. Ugh,
um,
funny.
um, Another one was the bathrooms were really unclean and smelt. And then the rest of the response was, um, well, that's not as bad as the smell that you brought into the restaurant.
Ooh,
They're
wow.
just, they're brutal, but they're hilarious. So people have put, yeah,
The
there's a ton of them and they are so funny. So it's become like a very big cult thing. So so it's like this paradoxical thing where people look for the one-star restaurants and the terrible reviews because it's actually a relationship of trust and it's got a little bit of a gag relationship going. And also the other thing is that no Instagram influencers go there. So it's also another marketing thing. It's really funny. It's like a referral and loyalty thing. So if you get the joke,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, it's awesome. There's a couple of them that I've seen and I've gone to the restaurants and I know them really well.
yeah.
Just hilarious.
You're gonna have to share those so we can put
Mm. Yeah.
them up. So, owned versus rented. So this is the core strategic distinction. Attention is rented. When you run an ad, you're getting an algorithm's audience. And when you create content, you're renting traffic from a feed. Followers are temporary followers are a temporary measure of attention. But trust is an asset. So when you invest in the relationship, the reputation and referral, you're not chasing a metric, you are owning the customer's person. And the trust column is equity. So the attention column is operating expenses, and we must move our strategies into column two. Um, and you know, the I think the importance of this slide is really just understanding where everything sort of fits in. Like as per both experiences that we've spoken about, whether somebody gives you a review, whether you make some cute content that lots of influencers like and share or what have you, like it's the attention that is supposed to transform that set of eyes and that human into column two in building that reputation, building out that relationship, and then giving them a reason to refer people to you, which then creates that loyalty.
Mm. No, it's interesting because I was just having a look at the attention versus trust, and really, I switch on the kind of the business brain, is that what those are. So if you're talking about attention, there's surface level metrics, what we call as vanity metrics when you're getting into the data science.
Yeah.
So followers are not really a thing. I've done a couple of really interesting ones and one really offensive one lately, which was actually, yeah, a little bit too funny and a little bit too not safe for work. But the problem is that with a lot of the followers, they don't really indicate if they're real or not. It's the referral.
Yeah.
It's the referrals that matter and those real people, those returning businesses. And it's really funny because it's like it's an inverse thing when you think about it. The loyalty and relationship build the reputation and referrals. So if
Yeah.
someone's got a great relationship with it, they're using it more, your reputation equity goes up and you're effectively more likely to refer. It's like I've got a friend who's a loyalty director, and like that trust model is his bread and butter.
Yeah. It's yeah, absolutely. So, essentially, um, so essentially, we have been um, going over different businesses that have been
Mm.
sloppy, they've been confused in their marketing statements and in their character, and essentially, your ethics are not what your website says. They're not what your sustainability report declares, and they're definitely not what you wish you could do. They're the logical consequences of what you're repeatedly doing, and they are the aggregate product of your hardest business decisions, your visible daily behavior, and critically, your predictability. Ethics are defined by the actions that you take when nobody is watching or when it is expensive to be ethical. Now, it would be expensive for that photographer to, at the beginning say, I'd love to take the money, but if you are only really interested in getting digital print and you don't have a $3,000 budget, probably better to go with somebody else, not take the money, do the photo shoot, and then go, oh, no, sorry, I'm not doing that because, like, whatever. Um, Same thing for Woolies. It would be expensive for them to say, we can't give you these products, sorry, and just not make
Mm.
for them or refund you for every individual one. Um, at the time when they weren't able to fulfill that to come into your shopping cart. And, like it just comes down to the way a business operates that is really what's building that trust. So those repeated decisions, the repeated behavior, and the consistency to show up in the same way, even when it's expensive and it is not necessarily, something that they're going to be proud of. You know, I had another experience where I was looking for business financing, and the brokers that I spoke to, one of them came back to me and was like, "Oh, okay, so I've got three different options for unsecured loans. One of them would be at 50% interest." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Mm.
why would you even offer that? How is that even legal?" And then there would be other people that would just straight up say, no, like you just got to wait until you're in a better financial position before you can get business financing or apply for a
Yeah.
grant or whatever, you know? Um,
And but that's the thing, and this is one of the interesting things that people don't understand about ethics, is that it does not just impact you. So I would probably never go to a financial advisor ever again I have zero trust in them whatsoever. I think most of them are thieving, because of the point is that they're dealing with large sums of money and the temptation is there.
Yeah.
I don't think they can do any moral good, besides line their own pockets. And that's from the experience that I've had with two of them who were highly, highly dishonest. And the problem is that that activity basically poisons the well for the rest of the people. And I was talking to a couple of coaches through the week, and the problem they're having now, a really good example of it, is the 48-hour ADHD courses that you can do online. Become a certified coach for ADHD in 48 hours. Yes, it gives you a very surface knowledge, but it's not going to give you. And the problem is that people go to that services, they get burnt, and they will actively promote not for those services to be promoted by anyone else. So it actually hurts the industry. It's the same with UX cowboys. It's the same with yeah, the coaching services at the moment, especially on Instagram and LinkedIn, are crazy. And it's like you look at some of them, they've got no qualifications whatsoever. Like, and the problem is that it not only affects the customers, it affects the industry.
Yeah. That's
It's like I know it's a not all Scotsman's fallacy, but it's like the dodgy real estate agent or the secondhand car salesman. You know,
yeah.
the action from one or two of them has basically polluted their um, image and ethical thing that
Yeah.
you automatically assume if you say dishonest, um, dishonest like area of work, which it's really funny. There's a couple of good books on it when that actually shift actually changed. The funniest thing is if you're looking at the very early 60s and late 50s, one of the high trust industries was a second-hand car salesman.
Really. I
And
wow, that's so
because they were selling it and their reputation, there was a point where it was a little bit more preferred because they knew the car and the engineering so well that you would go there and they would basically form a relationship. And they saw it as a continuity thing, is um, that if they were good to the person who they're selling it, well, they're probably going to sell the car back and they could either use it for parts or, resell it again. So it was in their advantage. And that mindset shifted massively. I think it was David Ogilvy wrote it. It was either David Ogilvy, one of those madmen from the era. But no, it's really interesting how that psychology had shifted.
yeah.
And it's like a few bad people completely destroyed. It's like insurance companies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I generally think like the least trustworthy people or the least liked are, an insurance salespeople, and used car salespeople and real estate agents,
Mm.
property managers type of thing. Because they, pretty much as soon as you move in somewhere that they're gonna, or as soon as you move in, that everything's gonna be peachy, and then you're gonna start having issues, and then you start realizing what a bunch of a-holes they are. When there's mold or there's rats or there's whatever there is, and they just kind of bar or block your emails you know, like nothing ever happened, or but then they'll be happy to put up the rent, right? And everybody's experienced it and continues to experience it with wherever they are living, the real estate being dodgy or non-responsive or putting up the rent, or not fixing things that should be fixed. And it's
Mm.
it all comes back down to that same the way that we are training people to understand who you are, what you are, and what to expect. Um, in the decisions, the behavior, and the consistency. So moving on, trust creates measurable returns. So it sounds abstract, but it pays real money. Trust creates that quantifiable, measurable return, and brands that are fundamentally trusted can charge higher prices because the certainty is premium. Um, it comes down to that expectation of that behavior, the expectation of the quality, the expectation of experience, and it's the reason why someone like a Bottega can charge the money that they do. You can buy a Porsche because it's going to run like just it's going to hum, it's going to be luxurious, it's going to be a solid, beautiful engine to drive, and some of the best engineering in the world.
Or if you like Swatch. So Swatch has got a very, very interesting value proposition. So you can basically get the batteries changed in store really, really cheaply.
Oh
And a
no.
lot of people do not know that. No, so they're really hardcore Swatch people. Like they'll buy the watches and they'll go back for the servicing because effectively what they'll do is just change the battery out cheaply with
Yeah.
it, and it's going to work because it's through it. And I think they still do the first battery change for free.
Mm.
I could be wrong on that, but it's in their best interest as well
Yeah.
because it means that they're getting the batteries back and they can recondition them and reuse it. So it's actually they were very green before it was actually green, and I don't think too many people are aware of that. You
Yeah.
get a Swatch watch and you can, well, from my understanding, it used to be called Second Watch,
Mm.
hence where it's come from, not Swiss watch as everyone thinks. But it's basically it's one of those things. It's like you got that trust,
Yeah.
and that quality is an arbitrary thing, but it's one of those things that's like, well, like I mean, I've got a Swatch watch, and the battery went on it. Walked into the one on George Street, had a new battery and working within like 2 minutes. It was crazy how fast they did it.
Yeah.
Like, how good is that?
It's amazing. Like that is quality service. You
Oh,
know,
sorry, it's at Pitt Street Mall. So yeah.
no. And that just the guarantee of what the experience is going to be um, allows them to charge the prices that they do because the certainty is premium. It allows them to retain their customers longer because there's no reason to switch. And they win stronger referrals because people put their own reputations on the line for you. Like you would happily go and say to people like, "Oh, you need to go get one of these." Like if something happens, like they'll switch it over in like 2 minutes, and the people become the spokespeople and become your salespeople. And essentially, it reduces the customer acquisition cost because the trust has closed the deal faster than any type of discount code, just based on the fact that you have had this real life experience and you can vouch for the experience that somebody else could potentially have as well. Which brings us to there is a strategic trap, which is the problem we have to confront in multi-turn strategy discussions. If ethics are the goal, then every B Corp should be the market leader. But we know that that isn't true. And it is an uncomfortable but true statement that the most ethical brand in the category is often not the winner. This raises the crucial multi-turn question, where is the disconnect?
Hmm.
So if we stop talking theory for a second and we look at the actual field, we are not just discussing ethics, we're discussing the high performance business models. So we're going to analyze four brands that have weaponized character into a core, irreducible strategic asset. So the first being obviously Patagonia, um, followed by Ben and Jerry's, Tony's, and then Lush. So
Hmm.
start with Patagonia. They don't use the word trust in their advertising. I mean, why would they? Because they define trust. When they ran the Don't Buy This Jacket ad, they were not running an advertising
That
campaign.
was so good.
They were actually illustrating their internal conflict. Their business logic was if you must have a jacket, buy ours. It's the only one you'll ever need. So they secure the trust dividend by one, proving radical transparency on their supply chain, good or bad. They promote a repair culture that directly fights planned obsolescence. And then they engage in highly visible activism that aligns with customers' primitive values. So they're not an ethical apparel company, they are a character driven institution that demonstrates its truth through behavior. Then we go to Ben and Jerry's. So Ben and Jerry's um, achievement is structural. They recognize that activism is not a marketing layer on top of their business, it's in their business model. So, by completely collapsing the separation between product innovation and social belief, or if you think of it as justice remixed or save our world, they create emotionally clear positioning that is impossible to clone. So, you can copy the ice cream flavor, but you cannot copy the integrity.
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but my favorite is like the hokey pokey
No, I like Cherry Garcia. That's pretty solid.
and the cookies and cream. But cookies and cream, yeah.
Yeah, the cookies and cream ones, there's quite a few good ones. But what I found really funny is that if you look at how their business model's based, all traditional business like thinking says that they should fail.
Mm,
Like the part of it was that they opened their um like when they opened the business that was suggested that they opened up like at hot areas that want ice cream, and their point was, well, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is probably this is how probably someone like me who's very autistic. um no, they go, no, if we make it at somewhere really cold, it won't melt, which means people can really enjoy the ice cream.
right.
And yeah, it just that's kind of how they did it. And they also found out that they meant that they could actually hold the stock a lot longer. That it was a lot less operating costs.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, it's really interesting. There's a couple of really good docos on the TV about it.
on Ben and Jerry's. There you go. And then the second last one we'll look at is Tony's. So
Mm,
Tony's Chocolonely is a
mm,
brilliant structural play. So their core competitive advantage is built directly into their product architecture. Because Tony's didn't build an advertisement, they built a structural truth. And the irregular non-event segmentation of their chocolate bar forces the question, why is it designed this way? It's because cacao supply chain is irregularly and structurally unequal. Their entire brand story is a masterclass of structural storytelling. So every aspect of the brand, from their packaging to their profit model, their lobbying efforts exist to illustrate the problem of systemic supply chain inequality, not just to sell something.
mm.
Do you know
No,
that?
the only thing that I would say about like Tony's is that it annoys the shit out of me, the unequal things. No, it's like, and I know why they've done it on a whole heap of reasons,
Yeah,
but my brain, it's like it just doesn't work. It's like, please don't do that.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm always happy to just have unequally huge size bites of Tony's chocolate. So at least one of us is happy. And then for the last brand that we're going to talk about is Lush. So I don't know if you've ever been into a Lush store. I love their products. I always have. And in a multi-turn execution, they've realized that trust is sensory and physical. So they use sensory design of in they use sensory design to physically demonstrate their environmental truth. So they've created packaging-free naked bath bombs. They've created highly unique, overwhelming sensory retail experience. So someone like you, Seamus, probably might be a little bit OTT to go into.
I actually can't go into that shop
Yeah,
because of the lighting and because of the smells, and I can't read any of the signs.
yeah, yeah. But
And I know that a lot of the handwritten signs, they're based upon Jabiffi's strategy, where it's like it's incredibly cheap to make, sorry, it's incredibly expensive and hard to make something look cheap.
right, yes, interesting. Um, so using their sensory design, they demonstrate their environmental truth. And when a customer walks past a Lush store, they don't see an ad, they smell the commitment. Their visible activism in the retail window confirms the narrative, and trust is physical, not verbal. So, just seeing like the wooden boxes and the fact that everything's not packaged to the nth degree, and that everything's made of like raw products. The containers are recycled packaging or recycled plastic or from bottles or whatever it is, and you just feel and smell and it's like there isn't a better word than lush. I don't think I've ever used a lush product that I didn't love, and that just wasn't um, wasn't amazing on my skin. And I think especially for women, we love we love buying all of these bath bombs and hand creams and foot masks and all of that.
But the one thing that I find funny about the people who work at the Lush shop, and this is probably an observation, none of them look like they actually use any of the products
Really, but how would you be able to tell? What do they
from
just?
the smell. A lot of them look like it's really scruffy and kind of like, oh, I've just gotten up or, whatever. And it's like, it's really weird. And it's like if you go into a Duralick shop, it looks like the people use it.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's in Lush's sort of brand design that they're all like just very natural and a little bit sort of rough around the edges. They don't need to be perfect. They're this, au natural, wild jungle spirit type of thing in my mind, anyway. But I guess I've never really looked like I've only ever really noticed younger people at a Lush store around Christmas time.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like Lush is kind of an interesting one. And even with a lot of the names of the products that they've got, I know that they're very, very political. Some of them are really funny and like slightly offensive, and it's like the things that I would do.
yeah. Okay. Give us an example.
Oh, I just saw some of them about like just like kind of anti-political ones. Yeah. Um yeah, there was one I saw at a store just recently, which was Pauline the Pelican.
Pauline the Pelican.
Yeah, and it's like, it's one of these things. It's an in joke from when um Paul Hogan he did a bit of a comedy about, a pelican and a pelican't.
Oh,
But he also used that in reference to, I think it was when he was having tax problems about 30 years ago, and that's why he left the country.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
go.
that's so cool. I love that picture. Do epic shit.
So if we bring it all back into multi-turn logic, what do all four brands have in common? They take the character and make it visible to the naked eye, highly consistent across every execution point, and crucially, very easy to interpret. So when you go to a Lush, you know exactly what it is. It's not hard to understand what it is. You know what you're getting every time is going to be some type of natural product. It's not going to be packaged to the nth degree. Like I was trying to quickly tap into, for example, I bought a set of serums, and I think there was like 5 layers I had to go to get into the product of plastic and packaging.
Hmm.
That's just something that I love about Lush. You're getting this amazing product without all the packaging. And then when you look at, the chocolate, you know, you're just getting like really good chocolate. Patagonia,
Hmm.
you know, you're getting quality, like sturdy, well made, warm hiking gear. There's no question
Hmm.
about it ever. And so, it's visible to the naked eye. It's highly consistent across every execution point. And it's just so easy to understand what it is and to trust that you're going to get the same experience every single time. And they're not trying to be perfect. They try to be legible. Um, like consumers essentially don't trust perfect entities. They trust predictable entities. So Lush is not perfect. Their staff are not perfect. They might be a little bit ruffian when you go in there, like maybe potentially they grow their armpit hairs. I'm not sure. Um, but they've won the trust in the predictability of what they produce in their products, which is why people love them and why people keep going back. So, um, essentially, the strategic distinction that solves the maze is that the difference between failure and the dividend. Ethics are an internal truth and they belong to your supply chain, your founders, and your internal documentation. Whereas trust is an external interpretation and it belongs entirely to your market, your user group, and your reputation. So the mistake that we make is in believing that being ethical leads to being trusted. It does not. The critical multi-turn strategy is legibility. How effectively do we translate our internal ethical truth into reliable, interpretation-friendly external signals?
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's interesting because like ethics are one of those really weird areas where you can act because it's effectively social values, um, which means you can have an ethical action on something that's highly immoral.
Yeah,
And it's like people really need, and this is why it's so important for people actually to challenge ethics, like what is right and what is wrong. Because I know hate, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but a lot of philosophers are saying that it's effectively subjective,
yeah,
which that may be true or false. That doesn't matter, but you still have to challenge it. And it comes down to around the kind of understanding the what makes things fair or unfair for other people is always often the challenge.
yeah, yeah. And when we fail when we assume consumers are logical. They are not necessarily logical, and people do not optimize their multi-turn decisions on the highest internal truth. They don't tend to read the entire sustainability report, uh,
Hmm.
and in fact, they optimize for cognitive ease. So they operate on safety heuristics. So the certainty. Will it do what it says? Safety. Will I get hurt? And clarity. Can I interpret the motives quickly? If your ethical strategy is ambiguous, it's generally going to be ignored.
Hmm.
So if we have a quick look at the pyramid, you know, the big question that we both need to ask ourselves is how are we quantifying the legibility? And here's the framework, the trust pyramid. So trust is always built in these sequential layers. So layer 3 is the foundation consistency. So this is the predictable behavior. It's boring, but it provides safety. You know, if I'm going for my chicken nuggets and I'm autistic and I only like a particular recipe, so in my child's mind, for example, she will only have the tempura dino nuggies. I've tried to get chicken breast and batter them and, you know, even cut them out into shapes so that she would have at least real chicken. No, get out of here, wouldn't eat it, chucked it on the
I
floor.
Do you know what? The dino nuggets, I like making a dino nugget and potato volcano, like that meme thing online. And you basically make a little volcano of mashed potatoes and you hollow it out and then you put your sauce in there and it falls down. And then you put all the little dinosaurs around it. So it's like a little diorama of deliciousness.
How old is you, Seamus? 6 or 5?
46 going on 7. But it's like it's delicious, and the best thing is that if you're like single, it's like there's no one to basically say that's stupid. It's like the best idea in the house. You're like, yes.
I
I
love it.
saw it online and then I thought that's a really good idea. And then I decided to make it and I made it with like a really good like proper like the only thing that was out of the packet was the dino nuggets, but the rest of it was like all proper, like really buttery mash, and it was like one of the best things I've ever done.
Well done, Seamus. Thank you for sharing that.
I wish I put it on. I think I got to post. I'll have to post it online. It's like the greatest thing ever.
Which takes us to the second layer, which is the structure. And this is the business model, the supply chain, and the decisions that you make, even when they're expensive. So, this is Tony's supply chain, Patagonia's repair program, and swatches. Pop in with your watch and we'll swap over your battery in under 2 minutes.
Mm.
And then layer 1 is the signal. So, the immediate interpretation. So, lush bath bombs, the irregular chocolate bar, and the initial bottle design. Many brands try to signal character without the consistency or the structure, and then the consumer heuristic detects that gap instantly and the trust collapses. You still think you match the nuggets?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm looking for the picture of it. It's like I made like a really good like proper gravy, like with smoked beef bones that I did on my cooker. It was epic, and it was like a bit of truffle oil and some dried porcini mushrooms in the gravy. It was like and some proper peppercorns, some double cream. It was like awesome. I'm just going, this is like the greatest day of my life.
Yeah. So to close the multi-turn argument, we started with the problem isn't that ethical brands don't win, it's that ethical brands cannot be, sorry, the ethical brands that cannot be interpreted don't win. So the multi-turn playbook is not just to build character, but to build interpretable certainty. Um, because the most ethical brands in the category might not win, but the most trusted brand, the one that solves
Mm.
the consumer safety, has the most efficient way of always winning. With a mouth.
Oh, I got a really, really funny one. So you know how everyone's buying those freaking skirt steaks that they've called a flat iron steak because of like the bullshit online. They've rushed out the branding, and so this is an in life, real life example of how to fuck up trust. Is that they made the recipe on AI
Okay.
and the recipe's wrong. So
Oh,
everyone's bitching online that they're killing a $30 steak.
oh no. Okay.
It's actually really, really funny.
Okay. Another one that you're gonna have to pop up.
Yeah, because it's the problem is it's converted the temperature and the time into American units, not into Aussie units.
Oh, okay. So just another misfire in terms of letting the AI go rogue.
Yeah, it's someone's just not remembering it. They're just letting it run and yeah.
So this so in this chart, this is where we see that where we secure the final outcome is really in growth efficiency. So a multi-turn strategy secures the dividend and it reduces transactional friction across the entire business model. So contracts close faster, customers refer your business, your product, your service to their neighbors. Switched decisions and conversations happen with cognitive ease. People feel more comfortable in backing your business, your brand, your service based on that trust. And a
Hmm.
high trust operation allows the business to scale efficiently, turning certainty into a quantifiable asset that competitors who are optimized by machines simply can't copy. And so this is the strategic definition that we need to operate our businesses under. Trust isn't a marketing statement, it's a primitive outcome. And when your customers believe in your narrative, your ability to solve their multi turn problem reaches a point where it's no longer compromised by fear of regret, you have won. And I feel like most of us have been caught out at some point in time with some type of product or experience where they thought they knew what they were getting, or they thought that this person had their best, their best interest at heart, only to then feel really caught out and really unsafe um, when they realize what the truth was. Um,
Hmm.
like with the photographer, like, with your financial incident with that financial advisor, Woolies, there's like, even when you get sold to by someone who's, just done that fast, hard close on you for a particular product or a particular service. And then you kind of go, yes, and you go to the next stage and then you realize, oh, that's not what I expected, or that's not what I wanted, or I never really wanted that. And they've just, I don't know, like hoodwinked me into spending money on something that I don't need or doesn't even serve my purpose. Um, and trust is really what happens when belief feels safe. Nobody wants to feel unsafe. And the moment that they have trusted you and then realize that they never should have trusted you, it's the most the most expensive thing for any business, which is why we always have to start with like our ethics and make sure that we are replicating that and being consistent in the way that we show up, no matter how much it costs your business, because it will cost you double in the end when they realize that they're not getting what they thought they were going to get and that they weren't safe with you to begin with. And they will scream about it on every platform that they can find. And you'll never be able to get away from that online, because once it's on the internet, it's on there for life.
Hmm. Yeah, you're right. Definitely right.
So this takes us to slide 23, which is Um, what are you signaling to your customer in the first 5 seconds? Before a customer reads a single word, their cognitive heuristic is interpreting the signals. They're not listening to your text, they're not reading your text and letting it sink in. They're not listening to whatever you're saying, they're interpreting the logic behind your design, your pricing, and your visible structure. So the bottles, the layout, the shape, in Seamus's case, the smell, the lighting, the experience, the design of how you use the website. Um, and the crucial strategic question isn't what do our ethics statement says, it is what certainty is a customer assuming before they even listen to us or engage with us.
No, you're 100%. Yeah, you're 100% right about that. It's really, you form that opinion. It's funny. I was talking with someone yesterday about those communications. There's certain signals that you put up there, and it's really how do people understand it? And a lot of the time, you look at it, and it's really from some other positioning, like in like industries. So, like with the perception of good and bad, um, like real estate agents.
Yeah, so true. Um, so really, just to close off today's conversation, AI machines and algorithms have democratized optimization. They can clone creativity, they can optimize the logic and execute any visible strategy instantly. But the one thing machine cannot copy is the multi-year history of structural truth. They cannot clone character, they cannot replicate the long-term consistent truth that you will never let your customers guess first. So the machine allows you to build the architecture, the bottle strategy, what have you, but you're the one who provides the truth that allows belief to feel safe. So securing that trust dividend is the definitive play for the next era of competition and how you win as a brand, as business, as a product, as a service. And that's what Seamus and I are here to help you to nail and make sure that your ethics, your brand, your signals, the way that people learn to predict um, your next move as a brand and the way that you interact with them it's all done through very careful planning, research, creativity, user experience design, and that's what we're here to do. That's Seamus's passion, my passion, and that pretty much closes our presentation. So yeah, Seamus.
Yeah, I think that's about it. It's like, it's kind of what we said, like you can copy everything in AI and have fun with that, but it's really the actions, the real life stuff that AI can't do.
Yeah,
Like you can't replicate um someone's experience when they go and get their coffee with a barista. It's like there's a reason why you go to the same coffee place, and it's the same thing where people are shortcutting with AI and um, like most of the time I see these problems and I think, yeah, you've just done something really stupid thinking that you've unlocked this amazing thing. You've got to remember that King Midas, that the Midas touch was never about success. It's actually a warning. It's a punishment. And a lot of people don't look at it like that. So AI might look as at a in the position of, oh, it's giving you the Midas touch, but it's not. It's always a curse if you don't have the underlying structures for your business.
okay. Yeah. And what's interesting is before we came onto this chat, we were sort of talking about and we've talked on lots of other occasions about the way that people have just kind of let AI go rogue with their business, and then how that has just turned turned their whole business upside down. So the recruiting space is one huge example that we love to pick on because
Mm.
it's rampant. And then the medical space. So NDIS cutting a lot of their funding. People are getting approved for their funding based on an algorithm. There's no person actually saying, oh well, like this person might be say a level 2 ASD, but because of that, they need uh, all these other services because their health is affected in this way or that way, whether it's exercise or whether it's their gut health and they need a nutritionist.
Mm.
And there's so many different examples across the board of businesses that are just letting their AI go rogue and really water down their business. And what they forget is that it is only as good as the input that you're
Oh, a
injecting.
hundred percent. I spoke with someone yesterday about it, and yeah, it's like the quality of the like it's only the thing about AI, it's just a tool. And it's only ever going to be as good as the quality of data you put into it. Now, I think I use it fairly effectively, like with a lot of things that I do to like compress my time so I can be a lot more productive. But if you're relying on everything as an output instead of a cognitive note, so like Otto's handbook, the difference is massive. So if you're looking at to offload a lot of those cognitive functions and do better quality, like, oh, you've just done a really slapped up piece of copy, that can actually critique it.
Yeah,
You still have to do the work. But if you say, hey, create this flyer, the chances are it's going to be like everyone else's.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you just end up again breaking that trust that you've probably worked really hard to create inside your business.
Yeah.
And we're not saying don't use AI. We're saying, partner with us where we can at least at the very beginning, like start from the beginning and build complete framework of who you are as a business, as a brand, and make sure that all of the decisions are backed by the research and all of the things that you want your market to believe and understand about you before you even speak in a way that continues to build that trust and not diminish
Hmm. No, you're right. You're right about that. It's just, yeah, it's, yeah, the right application for it.
it. Absolutely. So that concludes our presentation for today. Thank you, Seamus, for your wise input and your very hilarious stories that tend to come in.
Yeah.
It's always so funny. And other than
I'm
that,
doing Dino Nugget. I'm doing Dino Nugget Volcano over the weekend.
well, I think I'm going to be doing a Dino Nugget volcano over the weekend too now.
It's sophisticated culinary advice. I think Gordon Ramsay would be really impressed.
I think you would too.
You know what? I'm going to do that over the weekend. I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to tag Gordon Ramsay in and see what he says.
Perfect. I love it. Well done.
He'll
Oh,
either call me a muppet or like genius. It's like there's no.
you never know. You never know. Let's give it a go and see what happens. I'll let you know how Sophia goes with that. So thank you everyone for tuning in. It's always hard for us to stick to an hour because we always just love to have such a good chat about so many different things. But it has been lovely to have everyone with us for this live stream. It's school holidays next week for 2 weeks. So we're obviously very excited about that. And yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for our next brainstorm.
Perfect. Thanks. Thanks so much.
Bye.